One of my favorite features about Infogram is its maps. And for social studies teachers and students, this is a really, really good resource. Or it could be to both teach the kids about different areas of the world and to have the kids explore different things and showcase the information they find on a map with really, really powerful graphics. Now, to get started making a map, you need to choose one of the templates up on this little area above here. And we're going to click on these really quick and check them out. The nice thing is when you click on one, that same menu appears over here on the left. And basically, these templates showcase a lot of different ways that you can do things. A lot of teachers like to take what's already on here and just tweak it to make it your own. The major difference between these is the size and the shape. Really, there's a lot of information that's on here, a lot of neat graphics that you can hijack and use. But I like to make my own, but I'm sure you could look here and find some things that you could just tweak just right to make it your own to show the students what you want to show them. So for this right here, I'm going to go to slides just because I like the shape. So we're going to click on slides and we're going to make ourselves a map. Now, if you looked at the introduction, everything that you do is going to be public on the web. Always want to remember we got to safeguard student data, any private data. It's very important that we remember public on the web means anybody can see it. It's our responsibility to keep things where they need to be and keep them hidden from those eyes that don't need to see them. So let's go ahead and make this a title. We'll just title this United States. You can title it whatever you want. We're going to click Create. It's going to open up a blank template. So we're making a map. So over here on the left, these choices, I have text, I have charts, I have maps, then I have elements and graphics, and then shapes. So all these are different things that I can use and do. And remember, we do have the free version, so we're fairly limited. When we click on maps, we get two that are right at the top, United States and the world. And then we notice that these here say upgrade. If you get to the basic plan, which we have, you're going to see this all day long. When you pay the second plan and then anything above that, you'll get access to all these maps. However, notice that Africa is not upgraded. That means that every continent is available. So if you're doing something about South America or Europe or any of the continents, or even some sections of the United States, you'll find there's enough free versions to really get what you want unless you're doing some really specific things. Then it'll probably be worthwhile to just go ahead and pay that $19 a month. Now we're going to make a map of the United States, and we're going to make the map showcasing the admittance dates of all the states. That's just like the map that you see on the screen to the left. So all we have to do is go ahead and click Insert, and that's going to pull this map over. This is really nice. I don't really like the size of this, so I'm going to go ahead and drag this little dot here, make it bigger. Notice how the map sizes itself just right, and I'll kind of put it here. And you'll notice on Infogram, most of the pre-done projects come with data already in them that helps you figure out how to make them work. Very handy. And they also come with muted colors. And so we're going to change these colors. I like more bright colors. You may like muted colors. Whatever works for you would be just fine. So what we need to do, though, is change this data. So if I double-click the map, then I get what looks like an Excel spreadsheet. And it's got all the states in alphabetical order. It's got a value. Really doesn't say what the value is about. And then it's got a group, and then it's got the coordinates. And notice this is grayed out. This is something you can't change. You can change any of the other stuff, but this basically tells the computer where the state is located. So this is where it is, and then it's got a label. And these fields, if you notice as I field over, like Colorado, mountain, and 1. So Colorado is here, the value is 1, and it's in the mountain group. So the mountain and the value and actually it's this label here is what says Colorado. That's where the Colorado comes from as a label. So those are the things that show up. So as I field over Wyoming, mountain 1, mountain for Idaho, you can see this probably looks like time zones. Yeah, probably the time zones. Well, not really. Those aren't time zones. But I think you get the gist of how the data is. So with this data, of course, we need to replace stuff. So the first thing we have to figure out is what data do we want to replace and where? So that's the number one thing to do. Pretty easy. We're going to replace the value with the state of admittance for every one of the states. That's what we're going to do. So what I've already done is made a list of the states in alphabetical order. So I went over to another screen and I copied it, and then I'm going to come over here and do Control V and paste it in. And so this pastes all of this stuff. And I notice that Wyoming looks a little bit crazy. And I can tell you exactly why. So Wyoming is 7, and the reason why is that this list of states has District of Columbia. That's great, but I'm not really interested in District of Columbia, so I'm just going to highlight this whole row and right-click, and then just click over here and delete the row. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and repaste this information in, starting from Alabama. There we go, Control-V, and there we go. And so they all look the same. So we don't want to cry yet because I can fix that. So we've got all the states here, but I do show 1889, 1890, 1876, and then it says Colorado Mountain. I probably don't want the mountain part, so I think what would be nice is to put the actual date of admittance. So, of course, I made a handy-dandy list of that as well. So I'm going to copy the date of admittance, go over here, and I'm going to replace all the values in group with that. So I copied it. I'm going to go Control-V, and that's going to put that there in that column. So now I have South Dakota, 11/2 of 1889, Arizona, 2/14 of 1912, and so there we go. So I've got the data loaded in the map. Now we've just got to fix and make it variable colors. And so how we do that, if we look over here, this is all of our data, okay? This is some stuff here. This is a little bit more advanced. If you're paying the $19 or more, you definitely want to check this out. The free version, don't worry about any of these buttons, but we do want to worry about settings. We're going to click on settings. This is where we're going to make this map come alive. So I'm going to kind of scroll down here. First thing I want to do is I want to fix the colors. So this has the highest color being a greenish and the lowest color kind of a white. So I'm going to go here and make my highest color blue, and I'm going to make my lowest color red. And so we do that, and it still didn't do anything, and there is a reason for that. If I go to values, there's no minimum and no maximum. So we're going to set the maximum value, and this is looking at the dates of admission. So the maximum value was 1959, so I'll put in 1960, and the minimum, the first date was 1776. I'll do 1776, and notice the colors change. So that's pretty nice. Now, this is a really handy thing right here. This is the heading spectrum. So basically, this is saying how many different levels are we going to have for colors. If I have that many dates, I'm going to go ahead and make it as many as possible. So that should change this a little bit change. So there we go. Now we have all of this information in the map. So I've got this looking good, and you may be like me. I look at colors and I'm like, you know what, I want to make it different, so I might change it up a little bit. And let's see if it's purple, and what if this one here were green? No, I like it the other way. Sometimes I like to play around, check it out, and see how it looks. But I do like variability. That way we can kind of see things how they are way different. You can definitely tell Alaska's different than these other states that are the first states. So that's good. But, you know, when we're showing stuff to kids, we want it to look nice. And so one thing I notice here, this font is very, very small down here. So all I have to do is click here on settings and go down here. And I'm going to click on fonts, and this little plus arrow lets me make these fonts a little bit bigger. I can get reasonably large. There's a limit to how big it gets. When I make it this big, it kind of knocks some out for space. I actually like that, so I'm going to keep it just like this. I can change the font color, make it pure black, and then I can have some advanced settings. I can make them bold. I like bold. Make it all bold. There we go. And that looks nice. I could change the font style if I wanted to as well. So that looks good there. Let's collapse this. Oops, I don't want to collapse that. There we go. All right, so we got that, and let's see, the legend is right there. What else do we want to put on our map? Let's see, let's scroll down. Let's add a title, and so we'll go U.S. states by date of admission. Is that right? Very good. And it's not that big, but that kind of works. And if I go to tooltips is fine. Data format, I could change some things. I probably don't need to. Map properties, let's look and see what they have there. This is an area map. I could do an icon map. It's a little bit different. Doesn't really work for this. I have a heat map. I'm glad to have a heat map. You can do individual, group. There's a variety of things you can do with that and play along with that. But otherwise, I like it like it is. So a lot of times you want to check and see, how does this look? How is it going to look to the user? When we're done with our map, we like everything, then we're going to click on Share. Share publishes it and shows us how it's going to look. It's already going to be public right there. And then we can go ahead and view it online. This is the link that we're going to use if we want to view it online. So we'll go ahead and do that. And voila, here is our map. And one of the neat things about Infogram that I really like, especially about maps, and you may have noticed earlier, when I scroll along this bar, it changes along with the data that, or the visualizations that are with this data. So this is really nice. If I was teaching this class, I might click on here and there's the original states. Talk about that for a bit. Then you go up here to the next states and the next states. And you might even be like, you know, those are the last states. And what about around 1900? And you could show a lot of different things this way. It's really, really cool feature to be able to do. And then, of course, you can click them all and show them how every state is. So once we like how this looks, we could go ahead and send this URL to students, maybe via Google Classroom or something. We could, of course, use it and display it on our own. I do a lot of things embedded, and the way you embed something is you click right here on Embed, and this is very neat. There's a couple different varieties of embedding you can do. All of these right here. This first one, responsive, asynchronous, is my favorite. Basically, you just copy all of this code. If you know how to embed, you just go to a little HTML, you Control-C this code, and then Control-V. And responsive async means that if you put this on a website, it will showcase whatever it is you want to showcase. But then if you made changes, if you went ahead and adjusted something, if you realized, oops, I made Texas 1855 and not 1845, it will update the website that it's embedded on. So you don't have to re-embed it. Really, really nice. Once you've put it somewhere for the kids or for you to use, it's going to be there and it's going to be static. So that's how, in fact, the map on the left that you see on the screen, that's how that's embedded there by using this right here. So if I were to make changes, then the changes would automatically update. So that's how you make a map. Now, you could make all sorts of different maps. This is the tutorial of how to get it done, but hopefully your wheels are spinning and you've got a bunch of ideas of exactly what to do. Really help your kids out.